Hey everyone, ready to roll out.
This deep dive, we're going deep into the Transformers universe,
Yeah.
specifically Transformers 1, the upcoming animated film.
Gonna be big.
It doesn't matter if you're a diehard fan from way back when or just discovering these robots in disguise.
Right.
This deep dive is for you.
Absolutely.
We're going past those action figures and the blockbuster movies, really going to uncover the untold origin story of this whole thing.
It's crazy, the origin story, and what's really interesting is how this film is looking like it's gonna redefine what we know about the Transformers.
Right.
Especially Optimus Prime and Megatron, their relationship.
I mean, everyone thinks they know Optimus and Megatron.
Yeah.
The classic clash of good versus evil.
Right.
But to find out they were once friends,
Oh, yeah.
that changes everything.
It's a total game changer. Imagine these Titans, they're locked in this eternal battle, but they were once close, like brothers. And knowing they were close, how does that change how we see their future, their conflict? It's adding a whole new layer to everything.
Jeez, no.
It makes you ask, how could this happen?
And that's where Transformers 1 comes in, right?
Yeah.
Taking us all the way back to Cybertron, how it all began.
The beginning.
Witness the origin.
I know, right?
I mean, that tagline alone sends chills down my spine.
For sure.
And speaking of Optimus and Megatron,
Yeah.
the actors they got to voice them adds a whole other layer to this origin story.
Oh, for sure.
Chris Hemsworth, Thor himself, as Optimus Prime.
It just feels so right.
It just feels right.
He's got that hero thing down, but he can also be vulnerable,
Yes.
which I think will be important for Optimus, especially in his earlier years.
Right. And then there's Brian Tyree Henry as Megatron.
Oh, wow.
That's a casting choice that makes you go, whoa, I need to see this.
Yeah.
I mean, talk about range, drama, comedy. So curious to see what he brings to Megatron,
It's going to be good.
Knowing his future, will they try to make him sympathetic?
It's possible. They might be trying to humanize him, show the path that led him to become, well, Megatron, the tyrant.
Yeah.
And, it wouldn't be the first time a prequel made us feel for the villain.
That's true. That's true. And let's not forget about Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, wow.
Racing Alita 1.
Come on.
I mean, come on. To get an actress like her has to mean Alita 1 is going to be way more important than what we've seen before.
Absolutely. She's known for playing strong, complex female characters, and I think her Alita 1 will add something new to this story. I'm particularly interested to see if she influences Optimus and Megatron's relationship.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe she's a bridge between them, between their ideologies.
Oh, that's a really interesting point.
Yeah.
Could she be the key to their friendship, how it all fell apart?
Yeah, maybe.
And speaking of intriguing characters, we can't forget about everyone's favorite Autobot scout,
Who's that?
Bumblebee.
Oh, right.
Seeing his start back when he was B-127,
B-127. Oh, my.
voiced by Keegan-Michael Key, that's going to be a treat.
It'll be fun. He's got that comedic timing down. He'll bring some lightheartedness to B-127, which is good. Reminds us that even in the middle of a war-torn planet, there's still humor, still heart. And that blend of action, drama, and humor is what makes Transformers Transformer.
For sure. But you know what really caught my eye?
Mm.
When I was on the films page on TMDB, the key words they used to describe it.
What were they?
Buddy movie.
Okay.
Wistful. Friend turned enemy.
Sure.
I mean, come on. That doesn't sound like your typical Transformers action flick, does it?
No, not at all.
No.
These keywords make me think we're going to see a depth and complexity emotionally that we haven't seen in a Transformers film before. Like, they're really going deep inside these characters, psychologically and emotional, which is really exciting.
Right. Yeah, it's like they're using those classic coming-of-age stories,
Right.
but with giant robots.
Yeah.
Exploring friendship and betrayal and the choices that make us who we are.
Exactly. And that's what's so interesting about this, I think. It's
Yeah.
taking these big themes, things we all deal with, and it's putting them in this fantastical world.
Right.
And somehow it still makes you think about your own life.
And one of the other keywords they use to describe this film?
Yeah.
Optimistic. I mean, are we even talking about the same Optimus Prime here?
Well, that's the thing about an origin story, right?
I guess so.
We're seeing these characters before the war, before they had all that responsibility.
Right.
It's completely possible that back then Optimus was more idealistic,
Yeah.
more hopeful about what Cybertron could be.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes it even more tragic, knowing what happens in the end,
Right.
both to him and to Cybertron.
Oh, man.
And another keyword, ambivalent. I mean, ambivalent? That's not a word you hear every day talking about giant robots, is it?
No, not really. But I think it hints at something, a complexity,
Yeah.
that goes beyond just good versus evil.
Right.
Like maybe we'll see Optimus and Megatron struggling with tough choices,
Yeah.
questioning what they believe, why they're doing what they're doing.
Quite interesting.
It makes them more realistic, more relatable, even though they're, well, giant sentient machines.
Right. And that's what makes this whole deep dive so exciting.
It really is.
It's not just going to be about the action.
Yeah.
Although I'm sure there will be plenty of that. But it seems like we're going to get a film that's willing to explore those morally gray areas, those complicated relationships,
Absolutely.
the choices that make us who we are. And I think for a franchise that's been going on for decades, this is a really bold and fresh take.
I agree. It reminds me of Rogue One,
Yeah. Oh.
how that breathed new life into Star Wars. I think Transformers 1 might be doing something similar here.
I see that, yeah.
Giving us a different perspective on this story we think we know, really getting at the heart of why these characters do what they do.
Totally. And you know what else is interesting?
What's that?
Another key word they used for this film.
Hmm.
Straightforward. Straightforward.
Yeah, it seems kind of out of place, doesn't it?
I know, right? Especially with everything else we've been talking about.
Exactly.
But I think it means that while the film might deal with some deep stuff, the story itself will be easy to follow.
Makes sense.
Like, it's not trying to confuse anyone,
Right.
no crazy plot twists or anything. Just a powerful, emotional story that's clear and engaging for everyone.
I love that.
Yeah,
Sometimes the best stories are the ones that are told simply,
absolutely.
where the emotion and the characters can just shine through.
Exactly. And by doing that, by stripping away all the layers of mythology and backstory that have built up over the years,
Yeah.
Transformers 1 can really get back to what makes these characters so compelling. It's like we're right there at the beginning,
Yeah.
seeing those moments that shaped Optimus and Megatron and everyone else.
Right. And speaking of those other characters, we've talked a lot about Optimus and Megatron.
Of course.
But what about the others? What about Starscream?
Oh, man, Starscream. You can't talk Transformers without mentioning Starscream.
I know, right? He's such a great character.
Right, even though well, Starscream, do you think we'll see how he became so, treacherous?
Right.
Like, just picturing him, a younger Starscream, but still scheming,
Yeah.
still trying to grab power,
Oh, totally.
maybe even whispering in Megatron's ear, trying to
Mhm.
turn him against Optimus.
Classic Starscream, right? Even back then.
Oh, yeah.
It's funny you mentioned back then because there's this one detail about the film that really stood out to me.
What's that?
Those after credits scenes.
Oh, yeah, two of them, right. During credits and after credits. Man, as a fan, I love that stuff.
Oh, I know, right?
It's like they're saying, hey, this is just the start. There's a lot more to come.
Exactly. Like they're setting up a whole new Transformers universe with this film.
Which I'm here for it.
Oh, yeah, me too.
Can't wait to see what they do next.
It's going to be exciting, especially after this film, exploring the origins of these characters in such a different way.
It really is. It's funny, thinking back to when we started this whole deep dive, I was interested in Transformers 1, for sure.
Yeah.
But now, after really digging into all the details,
Oh, yeah.
I'm so hyped. Can't wait.
I'm right there with you. It's amazing how just these little things, like keywords and casting choices can tell you so much about what to expect.
And it's not just about the action and special effects either.
Right.
Those are always cool. It's that emotional core,
Mm,
friendship, betrayal.
mm.
That's what's really got me hooked.
Yeah, it's pretty powerful stuff to think that these giant robots waging war across the galaxy started out as friends, having to make impossible choices.
It makes you think, doesn't it?
It does.
It's about your own life, your own relationships, the choices you make.
Definitely more than meets the eye, huh?
No kidding. It just goes to show you the whole Transformers thing, it's more than just a story.
Right.
It's something that can really make you think about the world,
Ah.
about yourself.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes this new direction so interesting, It can be entertaining, sure, but it can also make you really reflect on things.
Well said. Well said. So I guess as we wrap up here, the question for everyone listening is, are you ready to see the Transformers like never before? To see how these legends became who they are?
And I guess even more importantly, are you ready to see how these robots in disguise, even with all their differences, can teach us something about what it means to be human?
Now that is a deep dive. This has been awesome. Really appreciate you taking the time to break it all down with me.
Anytime, happy to be here.
And for all of you listening, make sure to check out Transformers 1, when it hits theaters.
Yeah.
You don't want to miss this one.
For sure.
Until next time, transform and roll out.